me okay and see my screen okay. And once I get confirmation on that, then we will be off and running. Jonathan says he can. All right. It looks like we are good to go. So if I can just quickly get a show of hands to find out how many of you are currently selling online backup, that would be awesome, and then we can help tailor the presentation to you. And as always, throughout the presentation, please feel free to type in questions in the chat, and we will answer them for you. So this presentation is going to take us through an industry overview as well as how SOS fits in the industry and our humble beginnings. And then we're going to talk about the SOS reseller program as well as the features and benefits of the program and our software. Sorry guys, we were just having a little audio problem on our end, but I think it's all fixed now.
Well, let's just get confirmation that you can all still hear us. I just muted one of the other participants from the company. I hope I didn't mute us.
Okay.
Excellent.
Awesome.
All right.
Great. So, and then we will end the presentation with a demo of SOS ServerSave and of our web integration package by John Wagner, our Chief Sales Engineer. So with that, let's go ahead and get rolling. So SOS Online Backup has over 500,000 customers and over 500 value-added reseller partners. We've been in the online backup game since really 2001 when we were founded in Melbourne, Australia, and we've been in the United States since 2006. And SOS Online Backup has really been propelled, as well as the entire online backup industry, by multiple technology trends. The expansion of internet bandwidth, the decrease of hosted storage costs, technical sophistication of the population, and of course the population works in businesses, and significant increase in the size and value of digital data. I mean, even in your personal lives, I'm sure that you can emphasize with that. You're taking photos on digital cameras as well as on your phone, and you're doing it a lot. I know I am.
And I might jump in there. There's a great white paper from IDC which you can get by talking to Jeff McCauley or any of his partner specialists, and it was a survey of 500 America here in America, goodness me, the small businesses here in America last year, but I think you can take it as representative of a global trend, where of the CIOs and CTOs surveyed, 69% of them said that they're evaluating or planning on deploying online backup in the next 2 years, but only 16% of them currently are running online backup internally. So we're at an interesting point in the industry where we're past sort of the early adopter phase, and we're now entering a pretty mass adoption phase of online backup and cloud backup, remote backup, whatever you want to call it, in the business community. So consumers have really led the charge in this industry. Last year was a $1.3 billion spend on online backup globally. This year that's likely to double. So we're seeing rampant adoption, and that's largely coming from small businesses.
And IDC, in a separate report, estimates that the online backup industry is going to be worth about $44 billion by 2014. So by getting into this now, you're certainly starting to beginning of the curve and giving yourself entry into a great opportunity.
And so what's driving this? Here at SOS, we sort of developed this language of what we call the price functionality inflection point, which is just a fancy way of saying that online backup's now just as functional as traditional backup technologies you're probably familiar with. So, you know, the classic case is backup exec, running tape backup, or maybe to a disk array on premises. Then taking that local media, whether it's disk or tape, off-site. That's the sort of classic deployment. Costs around $5,000. Maybe you can do it on the cheap for $3,000. But for online backup, you can now get for, say, $1,000 something that is far better, far more secure, far more reliable, far more expansive in terms of the types of things it can back up. So at a minimum, online backup's a better backup at the same price as legacy technology, but in most cases, it's a better backup at a much better price. So we're seeing that really propelling our business and propelling the business of our partners who are tackling particularly small business backup. The consumer online backup market is a hard slog. There's a lot of competitors in that space. There's a lot more money to be made and a lot more margin for resellers like yourselves who are focusing on the SMB market.
Can we get a show of hands to see who has any SMB customers right now? Just feel free to let us know if you have any specific interests want to talk about doctor's offices or anything like that, we'd love to know who your SMBs are. Jonathan says he does have some SMB clients. Great.
Okay. So in terms of, I'm actually going to probably skip this slide because this slide is focused on is just sort of the functionality that's driving this interest. But we're going to see this in the product demo. But it's things like being able to backup Exchange straight to the cloud, SQL Server straight to the cloud, doing bare metal backups and sending them to the cloud, even mounting those images in the cloud to be able to run those computers that you imaged as virtual machines in the cloud, centralized deployment, centralized reporting. We're going to see all of this when John does the product demo in a few minutes. So let's keep tracking through this presentation. The SOS Partner Program has sort of this two key vectors to it, the way I think of things. The program elements, this is things like the support that we deliver to you, the training that we give you, the billing solutions that we give you, and then there are the product elements. So just in terms of some of the highlights of the partner program, which we call our 360-degree partner program, you get an online backup business in a box. So website templates, your own content management system so you can update that website, an integrated billing solution where you can either use our e-commerce solution or your own and hook in the APIs into our system. Full branding, we can brand all of the software, brand all the websites to you so it can be a completely white label solution. You know, award-winning product, which we'll talk about more, but we're known in the industry for being the most powerful online backup solution in the market. We've won PC Magazine Editor's Choice Award now for 6 years straight, 4 consecutive awards. But other program elements include training that's going on pretty much every day, both one-on-one trainings as well as one-to-many. We do most of them through webinars, similar in style of this one. A lot of sales and marketing material. There's an entire library of email templates and proposal templates, all sorts of things that you need to actually sell and market online backup. And then the product. Just in terms of comparing some of the key elements of our partner program to our main competitors, this is sort of how it looks. So you get partner support, 8x5 here out of America, but then 24/7 out of our Indian operations center, so you've got both options. The rebranded software, rebranded marketing materials, website templates, hosted billing, no hardware is required. That's an important one when you're looking at something like, say, Asigra or maybe even Zenith as competitors. From a price standpoint, you'll see we're extremely competitive. So the price per gig of working with SOS is 11 cents per gig per month. Okay, just wanted to check that wasn't per year. Compared to some of our competitors with Asigra going all the way up to $4.80. Is that really right?
That's what I calculated.
Okay, so Asigra's pricing needs to be updated. They're just massively outpriced in the market these days. But generally, you'll find that we're the cheapest solution to supply you as a wholesaler. So our whole business is supplying you and allowing you to go out and retail and sell this to your customers, usually as a white label solution. Got data centers around the world, 8 of them. Exchange backup, SQL Server backup, Windows backup. We're going to see a lot more of that, the actual product functionality later. So before I dive into the product, can I just pause there and ask, we've got a relatively small crowd today, so we can be a lot more interactive than we normally can be. What would you guys like to hear about? Do you want to hear more about the partner program, about pricing, about the product itself? Give us an indication of what would add the most value to you today in terms of sort of learning about the company and our offerings. And again, you can use the questions dialogue to do that, and we'll pretty much answer any questions that you've got. Errol's saying you'd like to hear more about the partner program itself and the white labeling. Okay, work that into to the product itself, how it integrates into a client server. Bradley says, okay, Bradley, that'll definitely come out when John does the product demo. Looking for info about the product and how it all works. Okay, that's Jeffrey. Great. Okay, we'll keep those suggestions coming in. And I'll talk a little bit now about the technology, and then John's going to do more of that in the demo. So this slide just captures the high-level product philosophy of the company. Chris is saying, can this offering to the prospect, can it be deployed remotely to the customer and managed remotely using our solution? Absolutely, Chris. We're going to see that later. That's our Pulse remote management technology. Ryan wants to know if we work on Mac. Yes, we do. And so this slide here, just going back to it, gives you sort of a high-level view of what we do. Our main philosophy in life is to back up any data no matter where it sits. So today we've got plugins or products or widgets that allow you to back up all of this on screen. So starting at 11 o'clock, back up your cloud life. We literally can back up Facebook. Now this will expand in time, so we'll be able to back up Twitter and Gmail, Google Apps, even Salesforce.com and NetSuite. So starting to do cloud-to-cloud backups. Here at 9 o'clock, back up your desk life. This is PC and Mac. This is workstations and notebooks. Back up your mobile life. We can back up iPhones, iPads, Android devices. Then getting down into the more business-centric solutions. At 4 o'clock, we've got back up your file data. It could be files sitting on workstations and endpoints, but usually we're talking about file servers here, and that is the bread and butter of online backup. Going around at 3 o'clock, back up your application data. So here we're most commonly talking about SQL Server, Exchange Server, and SharePoint Server, and most of the online backup products out there in the market can't back up any of these. So SOS is quite different in that we've got native application support for all of these applications. We're going to see that later in the demo. And then finally at 1 o'clock, back up your system data. So here we're talking about bare metal images of your solutions, of your servers that you can recover from, but also a true disaster recovery solution where we can take those bare metal images, send them to the cloud, and we can even then mount those images in the cloud for you and let you run that VM on our infrastructure for a while if you had a true site disaster. Some more questions coming in. Tony wants to know about a reporting summary for backups. Yep, Tony, we're going to see that in the demo. Jonathan wants to know about pricing strategy, how to market to clients that want bare metal international data center locations for enterprise clients. Well, Jonathan, your decision is pretty easy because I think we're the only company that's got
as many
bare metal support, 8 data centers around the world, and a central management and reporting solution for enterprise clients. So we've definitely got everything you want from a functionality standpoint, and from a pricing standpoint, we're the least expensive of any of the major companies in the space. So you're in the right webinar.
Yeah, for example, like if you went back to the reseller program competitive pricing, or I'm sorry, competitive feature grid, I did list data centers on there, and you'd see, for example, XZBackup, which is probably the only comparably priced solution on that grid, has only 1 data center, and it's in Tampa, Florida.
But you can't compare XZBackup to what we do. XZBackup is very simple, file and folder, online backup. It's great for home users and perhaps backing up a couple of photos of your kids, but it's not a business backup solution by any means. We're actually less expensive than they are, but the functionality of their product is very weak. The only on this slide here, the competitors that have functionality somewhat similar to ours are Intronis and Asigra. Asigra is a strong competitor of ours, but their pricing so archaic that I think they're having a lot of trouble competing with us. The other big problem with Asigra is you have to set up your own data center. So with SOS, you get a fully managed cloud that we run for you. And quite frankly, and I don't mean any disrespect when I say this, but we can run the cloud a hell of a lot better than you probably can. We've got economies of scale that are hard to match. And so with the Asigra's model, you have to go and set up your own data centers, which is expensive to do and difficult to do. We run the cloud for you, and yet we're still a fraction of their price. Tom says, are there plans to offer backup for major Linux distros? Tom, not at the moment. Our belief is that it's very difficult to get Linux users to pay for this kind of software, and that's been borne out by the work we've done with our partners over the years. So no current plans to build native products for the Linux distros. We do have native Mac product, and we've looked at porting that, but haven't made that jump yet. Jonathan asks, when will mobile platform be available? Jonathan, mobile's available now, so we can back up iPhone and Android. Errol MC says, guys, I'm sold. That's great. Chris, does SOS give resellers customers tier 1, 2, and 3 support? No, Chris. We do tier 2 and 3. We'll support you, and you usually provide level 1 support to your customers. We can do level 1 support, but usually partners want to brand the service to their own company's brand, so it would be Chris Lee Online Backup, and in that scenario, you'd usually want to control the customer relationship. Jonathan says, perfect, thanks. We've already sold the product across 5 continents, haven't rolled it out yet. Okay.
That's Jonathan Miller?
Yeah, Jonathan Miller. Cool. Jeff says, hi, Jonathan.
Yeah, hi, Jonathan. I got some feedback from Ivan that you guys have done very well, very quickly, so congratulations on that. Looking forward to watching you guys over the months to come.
Great. It's great to have a success story among the attendees this morning. All right, so this is the product strategy. Let's actually look at some of the details. So SOS ServerSave, which you probably heard a lot about, is our sort of new flagship offering. It's not just server backup, so it's a bit of a misnomer. It's a total backup solution that comes, ServerSave 5 is our most common package, which comes with 5 server licenses. And how many workstations, Jeff?
5,000.
Okay. So you've got a total business solution that allows you to back up nearly as many endpoints as you're ever going to need. You're very unlikely to hit up against the endpoint limit, and then 5 servers. And so there's 5 different sort of product streams within that bundle: Exchange backup and granular recovery, bare metal image creator for bare metal backup, the core online backup product that does both server backup as well as endpoint backup. There's a separate product called Workstation Backup. Now, the difference between these two is mainly aesthetic. The Workstation Backup product is highly branded and has 1,200 points of branding, so it's very useful for sort of retail customers, whereas the Online Backup and Recovery Manager is more generically branded, far more advanced technology, but is sort of more for use on servers, and it's a more powerful product, but it doesn't have basically doesn't have a sexier user interface is really what it boils down to. Web integration package, we're going to see that. It's basically just the way that you glue your website and systems into our systems, and then the mobile application suite. So this is mobile apps for access and recovery and sharing, as well as mobile apps for backup. So let's put all that together and sort of look at the features of the product compared to the 2 big names in the retail online backup industry, Carbonite and Mozy. So military-grade security, everything's encrypted with AES 256 bits, which is the US government standard for top secret government data. 8 megabit transfer, you'll find that we are consistently between 5 and 10 times faster than any other solution on the market. The backup to local drives, web access of files, mobile device access, these are sort of industry standards these days. SOS ServerSave, this is unique. This is our unlimited archiving system. So this feature here, SOS ServerSave, combined with unlimited file version save, does a really interesting thing. It allows the solution to be a true archiving product for you as well as a backup product for you. So what I mean by that is that you can roll back to any point in time. When I'm doing a product demo, I usually show off with my account, which goes back to October 2007. And I can roll back my account all the way back to then. Why is that special? Well, most of the other companies in the space only keep 30 versions, not 7 years worth of versions. And secondly, all the other companies in the space will delete data from the cloud once the original device that you're backing up has been disconnected. So in other words, if you're backing up a laptop for a few months with Carbonite and then you stop backing it up with Carbonite, after 90 days they'll delete all that data from the cloud because they say that would then now be an archive copy, not a backup copy. We think that's stupid, and the customers don't really understand the distinction between the two, and so we've just built archiving into the product. So it's technically archiving and not backup, but I really don't believe that the public understands that distinction. So long and short of that is you can sell this both as a backup and disaster recovery solution as well as an archiving solution. And then with some of our newer technologies, a social backup, that's the Facebook backup that will grow into other business cloud backup, like backing up Salesforce, mobile backup for iPhone and Android. Our syncing solution is SOS Collaborate, which is actually sold separately. It's not part of the ServerSave bundle, but that's available, and you can talk to your reps about that. Bare metal backup and recovery, transactionally consistent bare metal. This is important. Most bare metal solutions take